The River Worth begins high up in the Pennines on the Lancashire-Yorkshire border and kind of flows down to the River Aire. I came to live in the Worth Valley about 10 years ago from Manchester, and I went for lessons on beekeeping and I ended up buying some hives and becoming a beekeeper. I was walking around here recently and going for my walks, and I came across these strange structures, these strange stone structures, and no idea what they were. And then, not just one lot, on another walk I found some more. And I asked a neighbour, Ron, he's kind of local historian, I asked him what these things were, and he said they were bee boles. So apparently, Ron told me, what they used to do, not that long ago, but when they kept bees in these wicker baskets, they'd put them in these stone recesses to be close to the earth in the winter when it was freezing cold, to stop the bees dying, and the earth would warm them. And Ron's produced a pamphlet about this, bee boles, mentioning bee boles, quite significant.
Beekeeping was an important part of the local economy. This is very poor agricultural land and the climate's cold, and when families grew the land was divided, so you just ended up with smaller and smaller farms, mostly about 10 acres, all dotted along the slower slopes of the moors. It took years of hard work to create the fields from the moorland, and then they could grow oats for the humans and grass for the animals. It was subsistence farming, really. Each family might have a few dairy cows, a pig, chickens, a horse for the cart, and sheep up on the moors. The only money they really got was from the cloth they made from the sheep's wool. Every house had a hand loom in the upstairs room, and the women and children did spinning downstairs. So for lots of people, the only sweetness they got was from their honey. They used it in cooking and wine and beer making. This way of life had really vanished by the turn of the 20th century. Small mills in the valleys had replaced the home weaving long ago, but this still left an income for the local farmers. But now huge mills in Leeds and Bradford destroyed the small rural mills, and that ended a vital source of income for the families. Then in the 1870s, the water authorities began to buy all the land round here, vast acres, to construct reservoirs to supply the new towns with water. So the farmers ended up as tenant farmers. But worse still, the water boards banned the keeping of cattle. That was to stop TB getting into the water. And this was the final nail in the coffin of subsistence farming. Poverty forced people to move to the towns, to look for work in the mills. Farm buildings were abandoned and their land was taken over by the few remaining farmers. For example, for hundreds of years this tract would have been busy, leading up to 3 farms: Lower Withens, Middle Withens and Top Withens, with their surrounding fields, now recolonised by the Moors. Many farms just became ruins, or their stones were carted away to be used elsewhere. Life only returned to some of the empty farmhouses in the 1960s and 70s, when city folk with cars began to move here, and they of course just commuted to work in the towns. When I look at the people in these old pictures, I wonder, did they realise that their whole world was about to completely vanish forever?
disease spreads.
As the coronavirus story develops, we're bringing you the very latest.
Many governments have announced new measures to try to contain the virus.
A daily roundup of news, information and health advice, and reports from affected areas.
We are in new territory.
The Coronavirus Global Update. Find it at bbcworldservice.com.